of like opposing our thoughts of hatred with like a more powerful thought of love.
Yes.
That also, I think, like relates to ourselves, you know.
That relates to inner alchemy.
Bella, what is
they talk
wrong
about
with
that
you?
in the Kabbalah.
Bella.
I think she just doesn't want something tied to her foot.
The inner alchemy.
Would you want something tied to your foot by a stranger?
No.
Or
Alright,
by
Bella,
a non-stranger.
Or by a non-stranger?
So yeah, so when we're
This
feeling...
is part of the conversation that's being
yeah.
recorded.
This is an essential part of the conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, when we have thoughts of fear, yes, we can counteract it. Because you can't have feelings
we're
of
being
fear.
recorded?
Yeah.
Oh.
We can't have a feeling of fear or hate and a feeling of love and appreciation at the same time.
That makes
It's
sense.
actually physically impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So
That makes
anytime a feeling of anger or having resentment or jealousy or fear or insecurities happen,
Yeah.
start to feel feelings of gratitude and appreciation for what you have, and think about your strengths, and think about the love that you have and the people that you love in your life, and the love for yourself, and that will replace it.
Right.
So that's inner alchemy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks for defining that term.
Now, but also, there is the law of polarity in this universe. So we do have bad times. We do have times when we need to cry if it feels like it's a release and it's necessary. We do have times when something might upset us. And if we repress it, what you resist persists. So you should never try to bottle something or push it back.
Right.
Because it's still there.
Yeah.
So, like, you just need to deal with it so you can heal from it. And
Right,
then move on.
right.
Don't wallow in it. Allow yourself to feel and deal and then heal.
Yeah.
And keep it real.
Right.
Okay?
Must be true.
Yeah.
And
No, that makes sense.
and then you can move on.
Right.
Def Jam poetry.
Right? So all the characters in our lives that and this is a good thing for the kids to know. Any characters that have ever hurt them in their life, I believe everything like that is for a divine reason, because out of all pain comes growth. Yes.
Right.
And if they look at it that way, then it's hard to have resentment and like hatred or, anger towards like that, whoever that character or characters may be. If they realize that it's actually promoted their inner growth and helped to facilitate them to become a better person in the long run. Yeah.
Right.
So.
That's
yeah.
true.
And I didn't think that way when I was a teenager, and like I was abused, physically by my dad, and I had resentment, and it hurt, and I didn't really look at it like this is teaching me something.
You said you were abused physically by your dad?
Yeah.
Like how?
Like, I mean,
like slapped?
Yeah, and I mean, my head slammed against the ground and choked and whatnot. And
was that here in town?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he worked in the mental health profession at the Finance Center too. It was really. It was weird. But anyway, I didn't look at it like, oh, thank you for helping me to grow at that time. So, but as I got older, I realized, I would never, the amount of empathy that I have for people that are hurting, I think a lot of that may have come from the fact that I was hurting.
Definitely.
And I would never wish that upon another human being.
Right.
And I would never, ever hurt my son. I would never abuse him verbally or physically or anything.
Right.
So,
makes sense.
And also, like, in school, like, I always stood up for the kids that were bullied because I just know how it felt. And, so some kids can take it either of two ways. They could, like, continue a cycle and, like, kind of transmute or what's it called? Transfer the aggression that was taken out on them towards another person, or they can internalize what happened and say, "This doesn't feel good. I don't want." You know what I mean? I don't. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that might help anyone that is being bullied, to think about that, because you don't want to repeat the cycle. You want to be better. than the cycle that happened.
And I think having something else to look at helps, because like when it's easy, like when our and everything that we take in is a certain thing, it's easy to like keep reproducing that. When I think like these, for example, like these stories and that the kids read and the space that we create, it gives them another model to look to, because they're reading about young people who are taking active steps to like use their talents to help society. It's thinking about like helping their family, then like kind of like helping the younger children in the village, you know, and like that. It seems like small stuff, but it gives them something else to think about, some other model to like.
And then that's good,
exists.
and it's good, and then that's great, and that's what, you know, I started studying theology and all these different types of things. I had a pull towards spirituality from a very young age. It was just innate in me. So it's good to read about people doing good things, but it's also good, like, for kids, if they only like read about people doing good things, but bad things were happening to them, and they felt like a piece of crap, then they wouldn't be able to relate, and they'd be like, I'll never be there. You know, that's not, you know. So we have to help them to realize how they can do that inner alchemy, that inner work, so that they can become that, because everyone has that ability to do that. So it's good to talk about the struggles also that some of these prophets and people went through, or hard times, and like how they changed themselves. Maybe they weren't the best person in their younger years, and then they changed. Like, someone told me that Gandhi was a racist at one point, and I was like, what? You know, and some guy from India told me that, and I was like, well, he certainly wasn't that when he was fighting to free India from Britain. Okay, so maybe in his earlier years he was, but then he evolved and people changed.
How could he be a racist if he was in India at the time?
Right, he was racist against blacks.
Racist against blacks.
Skin
but there were no
in
black
India.
people in India, so.
Well, I know. So and Martin Luther King was very much inspired by him, and went to visit him, and so, well, you know, when that guy